They're only words. It's the context that counts. It's the user. It's the intention behind the words that makes them good or bad. The words are completely neutral. The words are innocent. I get tired of people talking about bad words and bad language. Bullshit. It's the context that makes them good or bad. The context that makes them good or bad.
Hey, what's up, everyone? We're back. Took a couple of weeks off. We had some shifting in schedules. We got new jobs. People were on vacation. But we are here. We got some episodes lined up for the near future. But today we are going to be talking about words and why they matter and how people on the interwebs and social media have started creating labels with these words that they hide behind, that covers their insecurities, that they label other people that they disagree with. And this has become a thing since social media has evolved. So we're going to go into some words that we have noticed that have been trending in recent times and that have been actually realistically been around for a while, that people just keep using and abusing without really using them in the right context, especially with the younger generations. It seems as though these words are, like I said, is something that they hide behind. It's their mask. It's their shield. It's whatever they do. Whenever you do something to make them uncomfortable, they automatically label you with a certain word that is trending on your favorite social media platform. So what you think, Ollie?
Yeah, I think like you see all these words and people be using them. Some of them just take it like all the way out of the context. Like, hey, that word doesn't really even mean that. If you look it up on a dictionary or if you look it up on like a valid website, the word doesn't even really mean that. But people really, take it to the extreme and use it to their advantage. They like nowadays, all this information, the social media, like that people are putting out, the information they're putting out is like really malleable, and they use these words as their tools to, put their message out there, make themselves, feel better or look better in front of their audience, just so they can have that level of ground with it.
Yep.
So yeah, it's use and abuse.
It's like it's like buzzwords, right? And by these words we mean and we'll dive a little deeper into these words, and I'm sure Ali has some written down. We've got toxic masculinity, alpha, sigma, fat shaming, woke, simp, Kyle, Chad. I know you gave me a whole different list too earlier, a few days ago. You got any more to add to that list?
Yeah, I mean, you can go into like each of these categories one by one, but just to add some, it's like simping, people calling each other, thick, or going into like finance wise, people are, getting into these buzzwords like, oh, here, sugar daddy, baby mama, things like that.
Yeah. Also too, before we move forward into these words, I also wanted to throw out there how social media has given people a platform to put labels on, I guess, other things as well. I saw one thing that was trending a little while ago was there's this body language person that put something on the internet about how like when you lean into your significant other when you're taking pictures, and how it's a sign of an unhealthy relationship, depending on who's leaning into who and all this other shit. We'll dive deeper into that, but that's another thing that I wanted to talk about, and how social media has given us a platform to make us default to these words or accept what's on the internet as a truth, and we move on, we move forward with that without educating ourselves about anything of what those words mean or what even body language means to different people. So let's start off with the word toxic. Toxic for me, right, has been an abundantly overused word by younger adults and younger kids. I oftentimes find my son using the word toxic completely out of context. And it's usually when he's playing like Call of Duty or Fortnite, and there's just a person that's better at the game than he is, and they're absolutely obliterating him. But he's like, yeah, man, that dude was toxic because he kept doing X, Y, and Z, and he's just a cheater. He's toxic. Just stop. Stop using toxic as your getaway word for shit that isn't going your way. And you've seen it at work with the younger generation that you have over there. Toxic is just thrown around like the word the. How have you heard it?
Um, Pretty much exact experiences that you had. Like you say, you heard it from your son. I heard it from like the younger generations we have like around us. If a person that is like above their ranks or has more authority than them and they disagree with what they have to say, what the person has to say, boom. Oh, he's toxic. He's this, he's that. Oh, he's telling us to work harder. Already work hard enough. That's toxic. This is toxic. He's not doing anything. I'm doing everything. Well,
Yeah.
you don't see the work that the person above you is doing. You're just throwing the word toxic because your views are not aligning with his. And I've seen it in social media, like pretty much everywhere, you know. So there's this guy that is going around asking people at college, doing interviews, asking about Andrew Tate. Hey, why don't you sign this petition? Let's bring him back. Let's unban him from
Yeah.
social media. And he's doing that, and he's asking these people to like sign the petition. Or everybody's like, "Oh, Andrew Tate, no, he's toxic, man. He's this, he's that. He's super toxic." And then he just asked them, "Okay, why is he toxic? What makes you think he's toxic?
Yeah.
Define toxic." And they're like speechless. So I see everybody's trying to like, just jump on the bandwagon of whatever's trending just to be on a level with everyone else. But they don't even know what the meaning behind the word is, or who actually Andrew Tate is, what did he say that was toxic,
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
just jumping on the bandwagon.
So check this out. So,
Hmm.
we're going to go with the definition of toxic behavior, right? And this is
All right.
this is the first thing that popped up on Google. I didn't fucking dive deep into this definition, but it's from Manhattan Medical CalArts.com. And their definition is toxic behavior. Definition refers to a person whose behavior and ongoing actions cause harm to other people by physical or mental means. These are people who spread negative or toxic stress or traumas on others' behavior, right?
Hmm.
So that's what the definition of toxic behavior is. Now, if you go on to urbandictionary.com, all right, so the number one definition for toxic is adjective used to describe usually very negative person that bitch about everything, spread unnecessary hate, or just talk shit about others. You can meet these people in any online game community, and they are the main coin of online gaming. And then the examples are, yo, Mike is so toxic when he's losing. Why you gotta be so toxic, Tyler? Please calm down. And then the third one, I went from 1 to 3 because the second definition of toxic on there was dangerous to the human body. But number 3 was my favorite because it says an overused adjective to apply to everything and everyone we disapprove of. If you need an example, you were toxic. Ain't that some shit? On Urban Dictionary, they said it is an overused adjective to apply to everything and everyone we disapprove of. That right there is it. That's any buzzword that's on the internet. It's an overused adjective to describe
Yeah.
someone we don't agree with. Now, I get the occasional Karen here and there. Like, I get it. And I feel bad for those people actually named Karen who don't act like Karens. But that right there in itself is a prime example of what these adjectives are being used on the internet. Toxic masculinity. What do you think about that?
Um, just to kind of put it into a few words, toxic masculinity, like nowadays I notice like males cannot be themselves. You know,
Can't
if a
have
dude,
standards.
yeah, like they have to like bow down or they have to like tone it down. Everything they do, they have to be watchful. Like a dude can't just like, hey, like I want to go to the gym, I want to wear a tank top, I want to drive a truck, drink a beer, or
Yeah.
hey, I just want to go like grunt at the gym or something. Or if I don't like somebody, I'm gonna go up to them and tell them why I don't like them. You know,
Yeah.
people can't be themselves. They have to like tone down their personality. They have to tone down their like how they talk to people. Even if the person is like the guy is saying nothing bad, he's just being honest. He has to like watch his mouth and tone it down because he's gonna be labeled as, oh, you're toxic masculine. So I mean there is toxic dudes out there. Don't get me wrong.
But it's not
There
in a
is
toxic masculinity form, in a
yeah, like
sense.
there
They're
is
just
dudes out
toxic.
there. Yeah, there is dudes out there that like, do degrade people. They are like, bad. But there's also, if you notice, there's also females out there. There's so many females out there that are toxic and so many men suffer from it.
Oh, God,
You
yeah.
know, there's to the point like men commit suicide, just like females, men suffer as well, right? I never heard the term toxic femininity. Always
No.
heard toxic masculinity, you know.
That's what you call feminism.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to. Like, never heard it. And it's always just our toxic masculinity. Anytime a dude is right, or he's like, oh, I made this money on my own, I worked hard for it, I'm gonna spend it however I like. And I know I'm not gonna give it to you just because you're quote unquote pretty and you bring nothing to the table, or you're toxic masculinity, or you're this. Like, what?
Yeah, I think so too. Like, as we progress or not, I think we're going fucking backwards. Um, like we devolve as a society when people are trying to move too forward into the traditional gender roles, right? When it comes to just me being a man who believes, right, that there are certain types of roles that a man lives by, and there are certain type of roles that a woman lives by in life, right? Um, and we can keep it as simple as, again, a woman's expectation of a man is to protect her when we are out in public or even in the privacy of our own home, right? If and of course the obvious answer to any woman that's single and doesn't have a man yet, they're gonna say, well, I'll just fucking pull out my gun. Well, no shit, you have a gun because you don't have a man, right? Like, let's be fucking very, very clear and very, very clear about this. And this is a rabbit hole I'm choosing to go down into, right? You have a gun because you don't have a man, right? And with that being said is when you're with the guy out in public, what is your expectation? Is for that man to protect you when you're out in public, right? So who's carrying that gun when they're out in public? Not the woman, the guy is, right? Or he's tossing them hands around and somebody's going to catch him, right? Like whether doesn't matter, right? Your expectation of a man is to is for them to protect you. Now, what does the man do when the woman leaves the house? He says, hey, take this gun, put it in your center console, use it if necessary, right? Why do you think that is? Because he is not with her, right?
Mm.
So there are traditional roles from a man's perspective and a woman's perspective that I still believe that are there. But because I believe that they still are there and that I believe in them, that is toxic masculinity. Like at its simplest form, right? I'm not even talking about like a woman's place is at home, right? Taking care of the kids. I didn't even go that far, right? I think we've evolved a little bit further from that, where that shouldn't exactly be the expectation. But if you're in one of those 1% of men that can provide and not have to have their woman worry about anything, then cool, got it. But that is toxic masculinity in its most simplest form. Is there is gender roles between a man and a woman, right? So the definition, again, front page, just Googling real quick what the definition of toxic masculinity means. And this is, of course, it's from Wikipedia, right? Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll read the first two because there's a top two that came up on Google. So Wikipedia, of course, is going to say toxic masculinity is thus defined by, what do you know? Adherence to traditional male gender roles that consequently stigmatize and limit the emotions boys and men comfortably express while elevating other emotions such as anger. It is marked by economic, political, and social expectations that men seek to achieve dominance. Well, no shit. No fucking shit. That's a man trying to achieve dominance is not toxic masculinity. Okay, everywhere deep down inside, even for the fucking simps across the world, the submissive man across the world, there is something inside of them that is, by virtue of being a man, you want to achieve dominance on something, on anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the number two definition, or whatever this is. A few examples include telling boys to man up when they feel upset or justifying abusive and inappropriate behavior with the phrase, boys will be boys. Toxic masculinity can be defined as the need to aggressively compete and dominate others and encompass the most problematic proclivities in men. Some fucking emotional person wrote that shit. Got their feelings hurt as a kid. Listen, there's nothing wrong with guys expressing their emotions. I do it all the time, right? Like, I will tell you if I'm sad, if I'm down, if I'm depressed, right? I'll do it all day, every day. That doesn't make me any less of a man. I think we have broken away from telling people to man up or boys will be boys. No, I think people need to be held accountable for their actions. I haven't heard boys will be boys in a fucking minute since I was a kid. But again, that's toxic masculinity, I guess. But the fun part, toxic masculinity in Urban Dictionary. So it says a social science term that describes narrow repressive type of ideas about the male gender role that defines masculinity as exaggerated masculine traits like being violent, unemotional, sexually aggressive, and so forth. Also suggests that men who act too emotional or maybe aren't violent enough or don't do it all the things that real men do can get their man card taken away. Oh, God. And then the second one, a plan devised by women to get men to be simps. I'm going to go for that one. That one makes way more sense. A plan devised by women to get men to be simps. I'm going to agree wholeheartedly with that one. Because God bless, man, toxic masculinity, those two words have been fucking thrown around everywhere. Left, right, up, down. You do something, you're toxic, or you have toxic masculinity characteristics.
Yeah. I mean, so while you were reading the definitions, like I heard the fact competing, being dominant, being aggressive. Isn't the what built like the society? Like isn't the what like led to like human progress? Because
Is
just
man.
imagine if us like, or if the people were not like competitive or want to be dominant or want to like, one up the other person, we wouldn't have made all these advancements that we did, you know?
You you think a bunch of women won fucking World War II? You think a bunch of women stormed the beaches of Normandy? I don't think so, brother. I don't think
Yeah, like
much.
we came from bows and arrows to nuclear weapons. We came
Hmm.
from like candles, lanterns to like, electric
Infrastructure,
lights. Yeah, like
infrastructure. Men run infrastructure.
yeah,
There are
competitiveness,
yeah.
aggressiveness, arrogance, dominance. That's what built it. All these corporations.
Hmm.
If that wasn't there, like where would we?
Yep.
Like we would still be at the candles and
We
lanterns era.
we'd be fucking rubbing sticks together to fucking create fire. Um, but don't get me wrong, there are fucking the exceptions, and those are like the 0.0001% of women that are actually in these trades as well. I tip my hat to you. Some of you ladies got more balls than I do, but that you are not even a fraction of what makes up this infrastructure, what makes up this world, those buildings that go up, those power lines that go up, those fucking sewer systems that go up, those gas lines that get built. That's us. That is us. We are we are built this way. We were meant to do these things.
Yeah,
Physical.
like it's making like the modern day man to like a much weaker man, Like if you
Mm-hmm.
see the ratio, like how many modern men are going into construction or going into like infrastructure or going to this hard labor work, this like quote unquote manly jobs is getting
Mm-hmm.
less by the day.
Yeah. Nobody's doing trade jobs anymore.
Yeah.
It's it's hard.
Mo yeah, and then they have all these videos that are surfacing the internet saying like, men can be weak. It's okay to be weak. Men can, I mean, I get it. Men are like, yo, we are humans. We're built to have feelings. It's okay to express them. But that doesn't mean you have to like tone down everything,
Right.
Like if you like go to a gym and like you're working out and you see like your buddy lifting something like that's heavier, right?
Yeah.
It's okay to like, okay, like let me try to do that or let me try to like go heavier. That's what builds the competitive. That's what builds like your attitude or your.
Men are hardwired to be competitive.
Yeah, that's
Men,
how you pass the limits.
yeah, men are hardwired to be competitive. That's how you chase after women. That's how that's that's what makes us the fucking complete package, right? Imagine if without us being competitive and going after for the things we want. Granted, there are lazy fucks out there. There are people with no ambitions. They're still living in their mother's basement, right? Without competitiveness and wanting to seek that dominance, where would we be as a society right now? We'd be
Exactly.
absolutely fucking nowhere without it.
Exactly.
Nowhere.
Yeah. And to be competitive, it requires that arrogance. It requires the
Mm-hmm.
dominance. Without it, like there
Exactly.
is no competitiveness. You can't be competitive without being, hey, I gotta
Exactly.
push harder, I gotta work harder, I gotta be aggressive. You
Mm-hmm.
can't be competitive without it.
And to those of you youngins out there, you young men or you teenagers growing into be men, there is nothing wrong with being competitive. There is nothing wrong with trying to dominate everything you do. Just do it respectfully. Do it respectfully, right? Be a gentleman, but go and absolutely destroy fucking everything you do and be extremely successful and just have some class about it. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing toxic about that. So just keep in mind who you are and where you came from and destroy fucking everything and be proud of that because that you are hardwired to do these things. Now don't go out there and fucking ruin somebody's life and shit because it's what you
Yeah.
think it means. Like, be successful. Use that dominance as a positive, like, drive to be successful.
Exactly.
But there's nothing wrong with it. So don't let the fucking internet or some fucking hardcore feminist out there that's trying to change your mindset of how you should be as a man. Fuck no. And that's what we keep saying, right? Was it strong men create good times create weak men create bad times. It's a fucking cycle, and we are there right now. We are in the middle of creating some bad times for ourselves because of how things are being fucking manipulated across your mainstream media, your social network platforms, the censoring, people telling you how you should and shouldn't be. Just live your fucking life and treat everybody with respect, and you'll be okay.
Mm.
But fuck if you have a different opinion from somebody else, man. This shit is crazy. Absolutely fucking crazy. Now let's switch some gears here. I know we mentioned fat shaming, but I think we need to go into the newer form of that, and that's fat phobia. Fat phobic. I think that right there is a new buzzword that has been created by unhealthy, obese people, who, because of their unhealthy habits, are completely unsuccessful in the dating world, right? And now, if a man, or let's say a woman, but let's just say for me as a man, speaking for a man, and because I saw a video on the internet that went viral that was covered actually by the Daily Wire of a obese woman saying, if you have a preference that you don't like overweight women, obese women, then you are fat phobic and you are discriminating against fat people. But she also went into, I think I showed you the video in your office actually. Remember that one, the fucking kindergarten teacher that was like, put your listening ears on? That crazy bitch. So she also used, like, if you don't fucking like a certain group of people, you were that group of people phobic or some shit like that. There is nothing wrong with having preferences. There isn't. There isn't. Right? Like, I don't like obese women. I don't. I'm sorry. That doesn't make me fat phobic. And to be honest, fat phobia means I'm scared of fat people. I'm not scared of fat people. Are you scared of fat people?
Hell no.
I think we need to redefine what that means, because
Exactly.
that is a horrible fucking. How about you just go to the gym, put some effort into wanting to be desirable? How about that? What do you think?
Can't do that. Can't do that. So you see, again, when we were talking about taking words completely out of context, you hit it. You hit it on the head. Talking about fat phobia, right? Means you're scared of it, and then they're saying like now you're against it. They're trying to turn this into like as a term as like racist or like
Yeah,
sexist or fat phobia, or you're against this body type. So just real quick, just to start this off with, we have this fat phobia, fat shaming, right? I don't know, girl these days wants a guy that's less than 6 foot. Is there a
right.
word for them girls like height phobia?
Height phobia.
Like that's their preference, right? Like, and we all men respect that. Like, hey, you
Yeah,
want a tall guy, you want a tall guy. Like, cool, you know.
yeah,
But all the men respect that. Nobody like comes up. I never seen one video where a man comes up and be like, "Hey, that's height phobia." And height is not something like men can control. It's out of their control. You can like magically grow, or you can
exactly.
like work out and get taller. It's not in their control. But we still respect that. We still like, oh, hey, it's your preference, I guess. I'd look somewhere else, you know?
Yeah. You know what else
But
is in your control? What you fucking put in your body.
exactly. But that don't work out like that because we have different standards for different genders.
Mm-hmm. But what would you call, just for humor's sake, you mentioned height, but there's also a money standard, right? What would we call that?
Broke phobia.
Broke phobia. Yep. A lot of
Broke
you bitches
phobia.
out there are broke phobic. Broke
Yeah.
phobia. God bless.
So you see, like they have this unrealistic standards. I want a man that's like 7 foot, makes $1 million a month, out here. But then when it comes to them, like, hey, no standards apply to me, you know,
Yeah.
like I'm this and that's it. That's all you get.
Yeah. So that's the thing though, too, right? Is if you're comfortable with um putting whatever you want in your body and becoming completely unhealthy and you are comfortable in your own skin, find somebody that's the same way, right? Find somebody that is comfortable with you being obese. Find somebody that's okay with whatever. If you are comfortable in your own skin, by all means, kudos to you. That is some self-confidence that you have. Got it. But don't put your expectations onto somebody else because your dating life isn't going so great and it's because you are obese. Okay? There's
Yeah.
there's nothing attractive about a health condition that is going to kill you. There isn't.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
apologies for not wanting to date obese people.
Yeah. I mean, there is like, people out there that like that have certain conditions that are like,
Yeah.
trying, hey, and like,
Thyroids.
yeah, and hey, hats off to you. You're out here, you're surviving. I see a lot of people at the gym coming in day out, putting in the work, trying to get there. Like, hey, go work it, keep it
Yeah.
up. But it's just like you can't push your what do you call it, expectations onto someone else. Like, hey, that's not a preference. It is.
Yeah.
Like, even if you force that person to marry you or
That's the
be with
ticket.
you,
Mm-hmm.
it's not gonna be like the same, you know?
Yeah.
So just because you can't change, you're gonna change the people's like the way they choose things now.
Yeah.
Like
And
they're
this
just
is
gonna force the world according to their standards, bending the
mhm.
rules.
That's exactly what it is. It's bending the rules. And this is why this is important, right? This is why I say words matter, because words are now being weaponized, right? At more now than it's ever been since have been growing up, right? And this is why I say words matter. Words can be as heavy and destructive as you want them to be, but they can also just mean what they mean in its most basic form. But when we're weaponizing buzzwords, we're weaponizing weapons, we're weaponizing social media to manipulate your train of thought and what you have control over, is do your own fucking research. Get smart. Don't believe everything you see on the internet, right? Like sometimes surfing on social media is time consuming. It's often used, like I use it for humor, or sometimes I watch some conspiracy theories on that shit, but do I go 100% and buy into that shit? No. It's just interesting to fucking watch. Now, if you're using the platform to fucking get these buzzwords out there and put people on blast and show examples of this stupid toxic masculinity bullshit, like, and you're buying into it, then you have become a byproduct of somebody else's fucking manipulation. Bottom line, think for yourselves. Whatever is on your phone is not how you are supposed to think. That has been the beauty of this country and this world, is you have the ability to go out and do your own research and become your own person, not what the internet or mainstream media wants you to be. Right. And we can go to the word simp, right? You can go to the word simp because you are a simp to fucking social media. You are a simp to mainstream media because you are molding yourself into what they want you to be. And it's fucking obvious. It is obvious that you are brainwashed and you are becoming a goddamn bot because of these, right? And that's only part of the problem. But before we go further down this rabbit hole, let's see what the definition of fat phobic is. And this is from butterfly.org.au, I guess some website out of Australia. So it says, weight bias, sometimes also called fat phobia or weight stigma, describes negative attitudes and stereotypes surrounding and attached to larger bodies. Further, fat phobia is an abnormal and irrational fear of being fat or being around fat people. There is no irrational fear of being around fat people or being fat. I don't want to be fat. I don't. Does it mean I'm scared of being fat? No, because I have control over that. Bottom line up front, I have control over being fat. Everybody has control over being fat, with the exception of a few that are out there. You ready for what Urban Dictionary, the number one definition for Urban Dictionary is?
Let's hear it.
Dumbest word ever created. I'm not even going to go down the list because we said it before I even looked it up on Urban Dictionary. You said it. You said it was the dumbest word ever created, or something to that effect. So I think, what's that word? Say less.
Yeah, say less.
Say less.
Yeah.
Is there any words? What's up?
It's taken out of context. It's not just like, it's dumb, but people are taking out of context,
Mm-hmm.
Like nowadays media is using that to its advantage, like everybody's pushing out their agenda, like all these, fashion companies are being inclusive and including like, larger size, plus size people. Hey, good for you. Human comes in all sizes and shapes. So you're showing inclusivity, you're showing diversity. Good for you. But that doesn't mean every single person is like, okay, like I have to be okay with this now. Like I have to like, now I have to pursue somebody who looks like this, even if I don't want to, just because these are society's new standards.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work like that. Like we all have our own choices, our own freedoms. So let that be. Just because you don't prefer that doesn't mean now you're gonna label me with a word that doesn't even mean that I'm not scared of you. I just don't like you, or I just don't want to be with you. I don't want to do the things with you that I would like to do with someone else.
Yeah. But also, okay, go ahead. You're gonna say something else.
Mm-mm.
So I'm gonna throw this out there real quick because there could be some misconceptions between fat, obese, and thick. Okay, thick. Okay, thick is not fat. Okay, that's Rico's definition of thick. Thick for me is good, right? Like thick is like you are fluffy in all the right places, right? And by that I mean like I don't want to have like a hidden hot dog under a roll that's on your body. You know what I mean? Like that's obese. But if you're thick, God bless you. Don't ever think that you're fat because you're not. You're just built different. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't mind a thick woman. Okay? Nothing wrong with that. But without
I think what
sounding
you were trying to say is like your body composition is well distributed.
boom. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I use my toxic masculinity to describe it as such.
Yeah. Your body composition is favorable to you. That's what you were trying to
Yes.
say.
Yes, you are good in all the right places. And whatever Ali said, that's exactly what I meant. But is there any words that you want to go over?
Well, there's so many. Let's start with, ick. So
Oh, yes.
I saw this little word going around. Oh, the thing is, the ick for me is the person doing so and so. For me, it's the hat. For me, it's the clothes. Like, I saw this dude posted a picture of him at a concert, and gosh, he was getting just flamed. And he's not wearing anything like out of context. He's just wearing a tank top, some shorts, some
Yeah.
running shoes and hat. Like, dude's at a concert, he's, just prep. And just in the comments, everybody just going at him. For me, it's the glasses. For me, the ick is the way he's jumping around. Like, damn, leave the man alone.
It's like you can't even fucking live without
Yeah,
some buzzword being thrown at you.
yeah. And people are facing that these days. Like, you cannot please anyone these days. It's not like
No.
before it was like you can't make everyone happy. Now it's like you can't make anyone happy. Because no matter how hard you try, there's always the one person that's gonna come through and be like, "Oh, for me, it's the way he's doing this," and now the whole conversation just rallies up off of the negative energy and goes back to back, obliterating you.
Yep.
Yeah, like I don't know where like the internet is going these days, but everybody's just so negative towards each other.
It's the sheep mentality, man. That's all it is. It's the sheep mentality, right? It's
Mhm.
you have the and I'm using my imagination here, right? So bear with me. You have the internet and social media overlords, the mainstream media overlords as our shepherds, right? And you have, or you could call it hive mentality too. I think that's another definite or whatever. But I'm for the sake of my stupidity right now, we're gonna go with the sheep mentality, right? Everybody's gonna follow the shepherd, right? Wherever he's going, and I don't even know if I'm using shepherd in the right context. Uh,
I
but
think it's
they're
like wherever one sheep goes, the rest follows.
well, you have that's the shepherd, right? The guy that fucking
Yeah, yeah, shepherd, yeah.
yeah,
He has a little dog and he like take
yeah.
care of the
So
cattle.
they're gonna follow the shepherd wherever he's telling them to go. You can call them puppet masters. You can call them whatever the fuck you want to call them because that's what they're doing. They are controlling your mindset, your thoughts. They are doing it en masse, right? Whether it's through your TV screen or your phone. And this is why that's why I keep saying, cool, got it. If you're going to enjoy hours on end on your phone, just be educated about it. Actually, go put your phone down and just live your life and let other people live their life and use your observations as a tool to develop yourself and not bring down other people, right? Like, not everybody needs to hear what you think about something or how you feel about something. Like, maybe you just woke up on the wrong side of the fucking bed and you thought a red shirt was fucking ick or whatever. But because the internet, you got to voice your fucking opinion now because you got a free platform to do so, right? This guy did absolutely nothing to you at this concert, and now for me, it's the tank top. For me, it's the hat. For me, bro, just shut the fuck up. Go live your life because you will end up on a social media post one day and then people are gonna be flaming you for how fucking retarded you look, right? Like, just stop.
Yeah,
Just stop. Go enjoy your life and let other people enjoy their life. You don't have to throw
yeah,
labels on everything.
yeah. Everything is just these days, like everything. Like we have these keyboard warriors that has their opinions,
Yes.
but like, oh, for me it's that, for me it's this. Like, cool. Like, okay, what's next? Like, let me see how you look like in person, and
Mm-hmm.
then we'll go from there.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's
Okay.
just the word ick. And then moving like along the same line, we have this insecurity, we have canceled, the whole cancel culture.
Yep.
That's
But
that's that ties
before
with the
we
whole ick thing.
bef-
Go ahead.
let's go into the definition of ick. So dictionary.com or Oxford Dictionary says ick is used to express disgust. Okay. Urban Dictionary says something someone does that is an instant turnoff for you, making you instantly hate the idea of being with them romantically. Uh, and then that's, I think, about it. Yeah, let's just leave it at that because the other ones are not what we're looking for. They're has to do with male bodily fluid on some of them. But again, another trending fucking word. You had mentioned cancel culture and what was the other one? Insecurities. So I think the internet and social media has made everybody insecure. Everybody. You see how everybody's living their lives and you want to be like that or you want to look like that. And that creates this false image of how you should be living your life. It's, again, you are being brainwashed into thinking that that's how you should live your life, exactly how they're doing it. Some people are genetically capable of fucking an 18 pack of abs and triceps that are fucking bigger than my head, right? Some people are genetically capable. Some people are just inject modifiers in their body to make that happen. Again, like I said, just go live your life. Go out there, live your life. Fuck what the internet is telling you. Fuck what social media is saying to you. And just get out there, man. Just go do your thing. And don't get canceled, because if you meet any of the criteria that we just listed, toxic masculinity, fat phobic, you have a more of a like, oh, well, not on Twitter anymore. We got Elon Musk on there saving the day, but you'll get canceled from everything else if you don't meet the overlords fucking agenda on how a society should be and how you should act as a human, and fuck your freedom of speech. But
Yeah.
Let's go with simp. I want to attack simp for a little bit. Okay? Cuz I have my thoughts on being a simp. And I might be wrong, but let's go into what the definition means. All right. So dictionary, the Oxford Languages Dictionary says simp is a silly or foolish person. Interesting. And then it says here, simp is slang for a person, typically a man, who is desperate for the attention and affection of someone else, typically a woman. Simp is an internet slang term describing someone who shows excessive sympathy and attention towards another person, typically someone who does not reciprocate the same feelings in pursuit of affection or sexual relationship. Okay. So, man, I guess I was a big simp back in the day when I was chasing females that I liked. Like, I guess apparently you going above and beyond to show them that you really like them or you wanted to treat them right, I guess classifies you as a simp now. Like the chase, like, how would you know if that woman was interested in you if you didn't chase them and they were like, oh man, he's actually putting forth effort. But now that you do that, you're a simp. So that automatically like recluses dudes from even wanting to fucking go out there and date anymore, because they don't want to be called a simp. They don't want to do the chase. They don't want none of that. But I guess there's also others. I guess there's another definition of simp where not another, but included in that definition, it's saying that when the feelings aren't reciprocated and you're still pursuing, you're an idiot if you're still pursuing and you're friend zone. Like, stop. That I can agree with that. Like, if you're a simp and the chase is going nowhere but the friend zone, stop it. Stop it. Drop it. Leave it alone. Move on to the next. Because getting out that friend zone is damn near impossible. Once you have been labeled a friend, you are done. You're done. Just give it up. Again, this is why words matter, bro. This is why fucking words matter. I'm telling you. I am telling you, this internet's gonna drive me insane one day. I promise you.
Well, you see, like there's extremes to the both the sides, you know. So simping to the side, they're running industries. Like I tell you, there's so many people I meet, and both males and females that I meet that are out here becoming millionaires in a matter of months. What you been doing? That I meet at these car meets, that I meet at this, you know, like masterminds that are now like buying $1 million properties on the low. I was like, whoa, like what you been doing? I never seen you out here. And they're like, oh, I do OnlyFans. Oh, social media. Oh, this. And unfortunately, it's true. We have these Sims out here that are like, you know, on the other side of the screen, paying their hard-earned money to these other people that are just, hey, making it off of them. And now they're out here turning their lives around, you know? So it's that pursuit. You know, you don't even know who's texting you. It could be like automated text, but you're paying for it. Just the need. And you know what's driving that need? All this culture out here, how like social media got people like scared, you know, is changing the dating game, it's changing the dating culture all across the board. People are scared to go out there and chase. People are scared to go out there and put their feelings. And this includes both the male and female side, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, if I put my heart out there, somebody's gonna walk over it. Or if I like put my feelings out there, people are gonna call me a simp. I can do like, you know, I can go buy a woman like some nice flowers and go tell her how I feel. Society is gonna label me as a simp,
Yep.
you know? So men are scared. They're hiding behind these screens and they're like, yo, I'm getting all this easy things out here. All I have to do is type on my keyboard, and if they don't reply, oh well, on to the next one, you know?
They're
So
paying $10,000 for a toe picture, bro.
yeah, so
That's what they're doing.
society is like turning men into like, you know, a weaker version of themselves, you know,
Yes.
which we call simp, a bigger simp, you know, bigger version of a simp. So there's
Alpha simp,
two extremes.
Sigma simp.
Yeah, so
That's what
there's
they're.
extremes to these. And I don't know, like I never saw the point like in the pursuit, you know, like if you're not getting like the same reciprocation from the other side, like same energy, hey, there is 8 billion people, drop onto the next one.
Exactly.
I never saw the whole
Exactly.
point of chase. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, everybody should have like their threshold, right? Like if
Yeah,
you are absolutely you're gonna make an attempt to pursue someone that you really, really like, and you do it, and it is several attempts have been unsuccessful. Hey man, cut sling and fucking go somewhere else. Like now you're just wasting your time and their time and your money and your efforts. But hey, simping ain't easy.
and you see, that's kind of where like we get into the whole like, oh, he's a simp, and then he's a alpha male, he's a Chad, he's a Tyrone. That conversation, you know,
Oh man. Yeah,
like
that shit. It started off with Kyle. Kyle was the first label you threw out there for. It was like I think Kyle was like the male version of Karen. It was like Kyle's and Karen's, or I think Kyle's were like just the douchebags of the world, I guess, that are transformed into a Chad as the upper class men. I looked it up too. Let's see. The fuck does Chad mean? Chad definition. Let's see. It says it originated in the UK, where it was used to describe a particular humorous ad hoc cartoon. Later, it was employed in Chicago, oh, of course, America, where it was used as a derogatory description for young upper class urban males. In modern internet slang, the term generally refers to an alpha or otherwise hyper masculine male. I give up,
Yeah.
bro. I give up. I give up. I give up on these words. I give up on putting definitions on everything and then the keyboard warrior sticking to it and labeling whatever word is the coolest that week. It's insane.
Yeah. And it doesn't stop. You should hear the words like of this generation, like Gen Z. Like some words are just out of pocket. Like what does they even mean? You know?
It's just, it's insane because like my son uses a lot of these buzzwords and I'm like, bro, stop. I was like, don't even use these words if you don't know the true meaning or the context in which you should use them in. Stop it. Just like I'm having to consistently tell him to just don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's the new slang for them. But you see, back in the day, slang used to be cool because it actually had a meaning and everyone knew the meaning. Like,
Yeah.
back in the day, one of the slang words was like swag or drip.
Yeah.
Like,
Drip.
yeah, things like that. Like, everybody knew the meaning of it. And, everybody knew, like, okay, this is what it means. And everybody used it in the same context. But nowadays, people are like bending these words according to like how it's going to favor them in a
Exactly.
conversation, and it's just getting out of hands. People are getting labeled left and right for doing the most simplest things. And the other day, so I watched this video of this guy just going out there telling people like, hey, if you go to the gym, you're fat phobic.
The fuck?
I was like, so all these people that are here in the military that goes to gym every single
Hey,
day of their life so they can be strong and protect the country are
we
fat
fat
phobic.
phobic. Fat phobic, bruh. Fuck out of
So
here.
I guess we should stop going to the gym and just,
Mm-mm.
hey, go to McDonald's instead.
Hey, call me fat phobic. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to the gym every day. I mean, I hate fat or I'm scared of fat people. Just means I don't desire to be obese. But I will
Yeah.
say this. I think we're at we're at 56 minutes. So I think we're at a good place. Uh, damn, I didn't think talking about words would have lasted this long. Holy shit. Um, but I will say, in closing, right? Educate yourselves. I've been saying that since the beginning. Educate yourselves. Don't let social media or mainstream media manipulate you into anything. Okay. And take it for what it's worth. Learn from it, but don't adapt it. Okay. I'll always be saying this. Treat everybody with dignity and respect. Treat others the way you would want to be treated. I'm sure you keyboard warriors out there hiding behind these screens and labeling people and putting unnecessary buzzwords to somebody's picture or whatever the fuck you want to do. I'm sure you wouldn't like it if that were to happen to you. So why do it to somebody else? And I sound like I'm a fucking middle school teacher saying, hey kids, treat others with respect. Don't do anything you wouldn't want done to yourself. But it, at some point, it's necessary to be said because we live in a society where if you don't agree with me, you're going to get labeled as something phobic or something or another. Educate yourselves enough to where you don't believe everything you see or hear or read. Do your own research, develop your own opinion before you start fucking labeling things. That's all I got to say. Educate yourselves. Be mature. Gain wisdom. And
Yeah, most
God,
definitely.
for God's sake, stay the fuck off the internet if you're just going to sit there and believe in everything you see or read. What you got anything, man?
Yeah, it's for the younger folks out there that are, molding into their personalities, that are developing their, whole attitude and all that. Like you're still in high school or middle school, whatever. This might be the trend now. All the people in your class might be like hopping on it and going with it. But in a few years, you're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, ah, I shouldn't have done that. So don't let this, internet mold you into a person that you don't want to be molded to, you know? Just don't hop on the trend and act like it, even though it's not what you agree with, it's not what you feel like. Stick to your gut, stay true to yourself and be yourself. Do not be afraid to be yourself, as long as you're like, being respectful and not like crossing any lines. Just do that and you'll be just fine,
Hmm.
so it's a very delicate time, those teenage years. That's where you develop who you become and how you're going to be for the rest of your life.
Yep.
So be careful what you consume and what you let affect you. Be very careful out there. But yeah, if there's anything that you see yourself in and you don't, what do you call it, find a way out, ask someone. There's always there. Your parents are there. Somebody's
Yep.
there. Ask Rico and I. We're here.
Yeah.
Reach out
Yep.
to us.
Exactly. All you internet babies are on a fucking direct path towards the movie Idiocracy. I'm telling you. That's all I got to say about that shit. I sound like an old grumpy man now. Fuck. Okay. All right. Well, I think that's it. I think we're going to wrap it up here. This has been another episode of Things Will Be Different. We got Rico and Ali, the A-team, out here putting out episodes, speaking facts, speaking fire. Check us out on our other episodes that we have coming up soon. Follow us on our Instagram at thingswillbe_different. If you click on our bio, all the links are there for your favorite your favorite streaming platforms. Give us a listen. And we'll see you next time. Later.